We're here to protect you and the ones that you love. It's a good feeling to know that our efforts aren't going unnoticed.
It actually brought tears to my eyes to know that we have this support.
You're welcome. I must just say, you're welcome. It's stressful, but we're not going anywhere.
Welcome to another edition of Bucknell Field Hockey Through the Decades. My name is Todd Newcomb, and I want to thank our sponsor for this session. That's Geisinger. Geisinger has been on the front lines throughout the pandemic doing all kinds of great work, and we appreciate what they do. All the first responders there, what they do for Bison Athletics and the local and surrounding communities. Tonight, we're going to hear from the decade of the 1980s. We've got some great guests on the alumni side, as well as our head coach, Jeremy Cook, and one of our current players, Diane Zarnecki. We're up for a great session. I'm going to introduce everybody, then I'll turn it over to Coach. So our first guest is from the class of 1984, and I'm going to introduce our guest tonight by their maiden name so that if you went to school, you'll recognize that person right away, and if they want to later on in the session, they can give their married name as well, too. So our first guest is from the class of 1984, Susan Lenker. She also is a Bucknell mom of a field hockey player from our field hockey family. Emily, her daughter, was a graduate in 2016. Susan was the team captain in 1983, and she's been a longtime member of the Bison Club Board of Directors. Our second guest from the class of 1987, Cindy Barbosa. Cindy was the team captain in 1985 and 1986. She still holds the single game saves record at Bucknell at 37, which she did so at Rutgers and New Hampshire in 1984. Those were busy days indeed. She was an all East Coast Conference selection in 1986, and she was a regional All-America second team selection also in 1986. Our next guest from the class of 1987 is Diane Zarnecki. Zarnecki was an all East Coast Conference selection in 1983, 1984, and 1985. She was a regional All-America second team selection in 1986 and was a two-time All-ECC selection as a member of the softball team. Diane was inducted into the Bucknell Athletics Hall of Fame in 1999. Our final guest on the alumni side is Michelle Manoff from the class of 1988. I like that class. That's a good class. Michelle was the team captain in both 1986 and 1987. She ranks fourth on the Bucknell career list with 80 points and third in career goals with 35. She was an all East Coast Conference selection in both 1986 and 1987 and a regional All-America first team selection in 1987. As mentioned, our current student athlete is a junior defender from Downingtown, Pennsylvania, Diane Zarnecki. Coach, it's a great group. I'm going to turn it over to you.
That's so exciting. Just for frame of reference, 39 saves in a game. The maximum we've had in the last 15 years has been 20.
Wow.
So that almost doubled the last 15-year record. So that's pretty awesome.
Cindy can't walk now.
Exactly.
Hey, the first question is, I want to hear about how your recruitment went. I want to hear how you ended up at Bucknell. And so let's just go down the list. Tell us a story about how Bucknell was introduced to you, what that recruiting process looked like, and how you ended up here. There's a slam dunk to this answer. So let's start with you, Susan. That would be really cool.
Well, I was introduced to Bucknell through my family because my parents both went there, and my brother. And since then, 13 of us have graduated from Bucknell. So it's a little silly, but I always wanted to go to Bucknell. It was my first choice. I applied early. As far as the recruitment was concerned, that didn't exist then. There was nothing. You walked on the field on the day that you had to be there 2 weeks before at preseason. You did not get a recruiting, like a warm-up thing for the summer. You got nothing. We did not have sports bras. We did not have running shoes. We would run as a warm-up run around the golf course in our cleats. Sometimes the field wasn't mowed or lined. We'd have to remove all of the rocks before practices and games. It was a lot different then. So we walked on, and hopefully you made either JV or varsity, because that's how they did it then.
Wow.
Yeah, they finally got rid of that after 2 years, and then it was just the one team. That was it.
Cindy, tell us your story.
Oh, I was going to ask recruitment. What's that? So silly. Good, I'm not the only one that wasn't recruited. I walked on. I wanted to go to Bucknell because my sister couldn't get in. And I also went early admission and walked on. And, back in the days of no sports bras and cane pads covered in leather. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's my story.
That increased the save numbers, not being able to boot at the length of the field.
Yeah, and it certainly hurt the foot a lot more. So
I'm sure. Diane, add in. Had you had any communication with the coach, you guys?
Yeah, a little bit. My story isn't all that unlike Susan Laker in that I was exposed to Bucknell because my mother and oldest brother went to Bucknell. And actually, my mother, while it certainly wasn't a varsity sport, played field hockey at Bucknell graduated in 1953. So I go back not quite as far as
that.
Yeah. And my mom knew your dad, I think, Sue. Remember,
Yeah.
they're just a year or two apart. But yeah,
Right.
when we found that out on the hockey field. But anyway, so I was looking to go to a not too large Division I school that was not in a city. We know that's true. That of course values academics as much as the athletics, and obviously there's no financial future in field hockey. So my high school program was really strong, and my coach was really pushing me to consider a few other scholarships. But to Jeremy's question, after meeting the coach, it was Martha Ludwig at the time, and learning more about Bucknell's personalized philosophies and approaches, Bucknell just really felt right to me, aside from the exposure and the probably social conditioning I had. So like Cindy, I was accepted early decision, and I've never regretted that decision.
That's awesome. Michelle, how about you?
Sure. Well, I was actually really interested in Lehigh, believe it or not.
And then she got wise.
I went to Lehigh and I interviewed, and the school just didn't feel right. And I said, who else is in the Patriot League? So I wrote a letter in the old days and mailed it to Martha Ludwig. She was fantastic. She actually called me when I wrote the letter, and she called me back and said, why don't you come for a visit? And that was it. I met her. She was one of the most inspiring coaches I ever had in my whole life. And, from that day, and then I went early decision, and was so happy that I went to Bucknell. So
that's awesome.
That's how it unfolded.
That's pretty much the way it went for Aaron, too.
You got that right.
That's awesome. The most inspiring coach, is that how you describe it? The least inspiring coach. That's awesome. Those are really cool. That's a really cool beginning. Next question. I'll take two here, and we'll go reverse order. Talk about the difference between how, when you first walked on that field for tryouts, who you were as a person then versus who you were when you graduated. Tell me more about your development through the process of being a student athlete here. Michelle, you want to start us off?
Oh, sure. I remember the very first day of preseason. One of my lifelong goals was to make, play for Division I team. I was so nervous, and in those days I was pretty fast. So I felt like I could do everything really fast. So I came in first, and I was like, I'm still gonna get cut. Then I was like, 4 goals in the scrimmage, and I'm still gonna get cut. And I just would be so nervous. And actually, Cindy, I remember you saying something to me about, "Oh, be okay. You're doing great. You're killing it. You're scoring. You don't be so nervous." And then it unfolded where, then I became, just more and more confident in myself as a person, and it, of course, showed on the field, and, was captain and all that for my last 2 years at Bucknell. So it went from being a nervous Nilly, afraid I wasn't going to make the team, to then leading the team. And, I had, it was a great growing experience.
That's really cool. Nervous Nelly to all decade team.
Yes. And I do want to say, Todd, I want to have an asterisk on my records, because that was before offsides. Now there's no offside, so I think I should have an asterisk in the record.
on the score sheet. You guys didn't play as many games back then either, I bet.
We never made games, and there was
we didn't play as many games.
Yeah, and if we counted all the goals I got that Jen Laskin was offsides on,
I hope she's not watching, but
she will, though.
That's
good, Michelle.
That's funny. Let's just keep going. Diane, how about you? What was?
Yeah, so
what
I
was
need to
your-
qualify the question because I think you said matured, and I'm not really sure who's matured here. But so I'm not really sure how much of it's a direct result of field hockey or, you know, in sports in general or just college. But, you know, the experiences I had, obviously, and the friendships we made at Bucknell have shaped me into a, you know, a fairly confident, independent, driven, resilient, collaborative person. You know, we all know about teamwork, that really cares about my teammates, be it my family, be it my colleagues, be it my partner, my neighbor, whatever, right? And of course, all those years, more and more years on the turf, you know, honed our skills and hurt our backs and our hamstrings.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Sydney?
Yeah, so, you know, when I made the team, I came out of high school, nobody worked with the goalies. There was no goalie training. You just put on the pads and you just did whatever you wanted to do. And so it was really interesting to get into a program that, you know, I'd be at practices with these guys all day long, either before or after. I'd have an hour and a half of jugs machines, you know, just whaling balls on me. And, you know, after that, I'd be in the pool doing, you know, diving for strokes and saves. And so, you know, it was really got me into a regime of a really good program and working out and trying to improve my skills. You know, the coach spent a lot of time with me, and I look back fondly on that and really appreciative of how she grew me as an athlete that grew, you know, the rest of my skills, like Diane was saying, around leadership and everything else. So that's kind of my story there.
That's awesome. We have a goalie coach now most of the time. We
Awesome.
had a photo shoot when we dedicated the scoreboard, and it was before we had a goalie coach. And so I was warming up the goalies before the photo shoot, and went in to stand with all these folks in suits, and I was just drenched in sweat. It was like at the end of August. And they all kind of noticed that, and I think that kind of got us over the hump to get the assistant. Susan, how about you? What's the big change from day one nerves to walking through the gates at the end?
It's hard to think back that far. You know, I was nervous too. I mean, you didn't know what to expect. It was one of those things, and you just thought, geez, I hope I make the team. And I did, and that was that. And I think just the whole experience of playing a sport in college and having the teamwork and the camaraderie and all of that is amazing. And Bucknell's such a great place and such a special place to be able to do that.
It's true.
Awesome. That's awesome. Erin, you want to jump in? And
yeah, absolutely. So my question is, what advice would you give to me or any of our other players that are in the program about the college field hockey experience at Bucknell? Anyone can start.
I'd say just enjoy it. I mean, I miss it. I've even tried to jump in old lady leagues, and boy, that's painful at my age. But enjoy it. What a great time it was. It's a time you'll never get back in your life. It's the time that, you know, just enjoy every moment of it.
Yeah, I think especially now it's so different seeing my daughter go through that and being there with her and seeing the team, getting to know the team, how it is now. I mean, it is a lot different, and you guys spend a lot more time together, which is really, really a good thing and not such a good thing sometimes. But I don't know how you guys all do it. You're all super smart and all like get really good grades and play a lot of games and spend a lot of time. But it is just a wonderful experience that, you know, you guys will walk away with that and never forgetting it. It's just great. And take advantage of all the athletes that you know for looking for jobs.
Yeah,
go ahead, Diane.
No, did you want us to comment as well, or just?
No, the networking thing is going to come up later, I feel like. Go ahead, Diane.
Oh, no, I was just going to piggyback on what Sue and Cindy were saying, and just embrace every ounce of it, have fun. Push yourself into those areas you never thought you might go, though, right? Push your boundaries and be a good teammate and appreciate, as Sue alluded to, the privilege to play for and represent such a fine institution. I mean, we're really, really lucky with Bucknell. They just do everything so well. So
I couldn't agree more with you.
Yeah.
And have fun on those van rides. We were Those vans. I was never a very good driver of those vans. So
I think the vans are better too, aren't they?
We'll have to drive.
if you don't have to drive, no, but it,
Hey, hey, Erin, have you ever been in a van?
I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
they don't even go in vans, see?
Yeah, you guys got it.
what do you mean go on vans?
We gotta drive our own vans to games. We get out
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Whoever got the short had to drive the van. That was horrible, and I was not. And I remember, like, who did we play in New York somewhere? I was on like the Frontenac Bridge or something. I thought we were going to crash.
So you're driving all the way to New York, going into the city,
like Holy
and
Cross.
then getting off the. You're literally driving.
We all had to take driving duties.
All had to drive.
We all had to drive.
So how many people are we traveling at this point?
We had, 11 in a van? We had 2 vans.
Two vans.
Right.
There was 18 on the team and 2 coaches. So we had 2 vans and all our stinky gear. Cindy's stinky pads and the bowling bag.
We were all going to do homework on the van too.
Unless you had the drive. Like did you draw straws about who had the drive?
Oh, seniors usually.
Seniors only were allowed to drive.
Yeah, we had different drives.
So it was the privilege of being a senior.
Yeah.
Privilege.
And so, but these are also the people that you're counting on to be the best players in the field.
Well, that's good, Erin. You don't have to drive.
Yeah.
And we didn't have very many overnights either. I think in my day, in the 4 years, I think we only stayed overnight once.
But we had to share beds. Do you still share beds?
Yeah.
Hey now.
Oh yeah, we'll do 3 to a room every once in a while. Like if we're having odd.
Every once in a while. You gotta make sure you get a good roomie. So you can with.
Our coach signed them. We were 4 to a room. You never knew who you were rooming with.
That's wonderful. All right, so this is dovetailing right into it. So most memorable experience. The most memorable experience that you had during your time as a Bucknell field hockey student athlete. Let's start with Diane. Most memorable experience.
I don't think any particular event comes to mind, but I know that this sounds corny, but I get this like warm glow inside of me when I think back on competing in a close game against a really tough competitor, probably Lehigh or something, on our home field on a brisk autumn day and coming away with a win, right? That's just, there's no better feeling. And the smell of freshly cut grass. Of course, you guys are on turf now, and there's loyal fans on the sidelines and the teammates nearby, and it's just priceless. It's just, as Cindy said, you'd go back in a second. The personal recognition was nice, but it was nothing compared to feeling like an excellent play with flawless execution. One of the things I really love about field hockey, and I'm sure you all did too, is you could practice it every single day, but it's still ad-lib down the field. Right, it's still, and it comes together, and when it does, it's just unparalleled feeling. So there.
Really cool image. You got me. That was awesome.
Did you cry?
A little bit. You just got. You gave me the little chills because we're still so verklempt. We're still so up in the air, like with this fall, and so everything like that creates those images, gets me going emotionally. Like just seeing Erin makes me emotional.
Oh.
Right. Most memorable experience. Anybody else?
I have one. My birthday is in October. It's October 18th. So I was really fortunate. We had double games on my birthday weekend. And that was when we had the cornfield. We were actually playing on grass. Our field was really nice. But we had a double overtime game against Syracuse that we won.
Yeah.
And, it was one of those games. I had some goal and the assist to win it. And I remember in all my life, I think it was the one game where when I walked upfield, I had nothing left. It was like a hot, one of those hot October days. And we were just so proud. Our team came together. Syracuse was all braggadocious and had that swag when they came on the field. We just shut them down. It was just great. So that's one of my favorite memories.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. Susan, Cindy?
One of mine was I had, I think, something over 1,000 saves for my career over there, and whatever game it was that hit 1,000, they coach to stop the whole game, and they came out, picked up the ball, and they gave me something, and then took it off, and we continued playing. So I just thought it was really funny that the game stopped.
Yeah.
And then the coach actually took the ball and bronzed it and put it on this really ugly pedestal that I still have, and I would have had it here to show you, but I'm in the process of moving and it's in a box somewhere. But so I have a bronzed ball that reminds me of that moment all the time. So
I remember when the game stopped, but did we win that one? Do you remember?
No.
Okay, maybe not. Next question.
I remember the game stopping, but I don't remember what the outcome.
Huh, that's a great one.
Yeah.
I don't have a specific memory. I just loved all of it. I loved, being there and every game, and whether we played well or we didn't win or whatever. It was just a great experience, the whole thing.
Do you remember when you were watching Emily play? Did you have some of those emotional reactions the way that that others have talked about?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Like I don't remember like any specific time when we were playing that stood out necessarily, but when Emily made the team and she walked on with my number, that was great.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
She's a rock star.
Did you know she got your number?
Well, it's funny. It's a funny story, actually. I knew because I had called Jer and said, "Hey, is there any way that I can have my number?" And he's like, "You know what? Nobody's using it." And I said, "Yeah, I know nobody's using it." And he said, "Yeah, sure." Well, evidently Brian had also called Jer.
Oh.
And said, "Can Emily have her number?" So Brian still to this day takes full credit for it. So I guess I'll give it to him.
And you were double teamed, Coach.
Oh, I love that stuff. that made me really happy. Yeah, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. Erin, you want to go for another question here?
Yeah, sure. This is kind of switching gears a little bit, but what advice do you guys have about networking and finding the right job after Bucknell?
I'll go first. Use your connections. Use LinkedIn. If you don't already have a LinkedIn account, you are able to go in and to see, pull up everybody that a friend of yours may know from Bucknell or from Microsoft or from whatever company, and you can ask them to make you those connections and to help you out. So I've got over 3,200 contacts out there. So look at my profile, and if I can hook you up with somebody, I will definitely do that.
I would also give advice, do what you love there, Erin. That's a key thing. And then connect with people that are in that niche or line of work that you're interested in. And if they don't have something, they're always willing to help you. So don't be afraid to say, hey, I just want to learn more what you do. And by the way, do you know anybody else who perhaps is looking for someone in this type of position? So people are by nature always want to help. So if there's anything I can do to help you, check out my LinkedIn profile. I'm glad to connect you to my network.
That sounds like something we can do, Erin.
And by the way, don't start the day after you graduate like I did, because I'm still 33 years later. Go travel the world for a month.
Yeah, that is some good advice. I did similar, Cindy, and I was so excited to go work, and in retrospect, a couple of weeks at least would have been nice, but
a day would have been good.
Yeah, I think I started the Tuesday after graduation. It was horrible. I started
wow.
I
think one of the things, Erin, this is a tactical thing, and you probably know this by now, but I've grown in it. I appreciated it then, but I've grown in my appreciation about it and Bucknell since, because I've helped a lot of other people in this space, is how phenomenal our career development center is. Bucknell's is. It's one of the best I've seen. And, silly things like learning how to really write a good resume and by all means spell check it. Those of us who have been on the other side of that have seen a lot of spelling errors, right? And Bucknellians can do better than that. But, and obviously the classic advice of trying to get an internship during your college years, gets the foot in the door, connecting with all the people. Again, my LinkedIn account, you're welcome to connect as well. But you can conduct what's called informational interviews, where you think you want to go into a particular field or school or whatever, and find out candidly what they like and what they dislike about that job or that program, and what a typical day or week or month is, and you can help prune down to what you really want to do, and what kind of work environment really matters to you. When you don't have a whole lot of experience, you don't think about that, and obviously when you don't have a lot of experience, you have to in some ways take what you can get. But as Michelle alluded to, the more you align with your passions, the more satisfied you're going to be. And I'll say one last thing, and sorry, that was a lot of answers, but there's a tool by Gallup called Strength Finder. I don't know if any of you have ever taken that, but it's a fairly inexpensive online test you can take, and it'll reveal your top 5 strengths and information about how you can optimize the use of them in any environment that you go into. And I tell a lot of people about it, and it's, it doesn't solve world hunger, but something to think about. I don't know if Cindy or Sue or Michelle have used that, but.
Yes, I have. It's great. I like that, Diane. Thanks for mentioning that. I use it. We actually use that to screen employees sometimes. So.
Okay, I don't even know where your life is now, Michelle. So that's great.
Yeah, and I think the Career Development Center also is great for working with alumni. Like they'll hook you up with alums that they'll have a whole database, and you can go in there and just do all kinds of research and find people. And Bucknellians are so helpful and so willing to talk to other Bucknellians and help you guys if they can help, or if they have a friend that can help, or somebody that they know in a different area or whatever, a different job. They're always, always, always so helpful. And wherever you are, like look into the Philadelphia Alumni Club, because there's a lot of people involved there. That there's a lot of Bucknellians in Philadelphia if you're going to stay in that area. So.
Okay, one last thing, Erin. Don't forget the West Coast. Everybody goes east. Come west.
So let's cruise around. Tell us where you're living, and then tell us, maybe we could have done that before the career conversation a little bit, but what are you up to? Professionally, personally, where are you? What are you up to?
Have you heard of COVID? No.
I stay in my house with my small children.
Yeah, you know it well.
Yeah, so I'm in Fort Washington, Pennsylvania. I work in Paoli, which is about 45 minutes from here. I run my brother now owns the dental practice. My dad had started, so I'm there. My niece is also a dentist. So I go in there every day. I'm now considered an essential healthcare worker, but so at least I'm out of the house, but it's a little scary. We're fully suited up, all PPE, everything, like totally. But we have 3 kids. Laura's our oldest. She was supposed to get married in April. That has gotten deferred to October. Now a small wedding, and then next year in November they will have a big wedding. Our son got married on July 4th in Denver. His was supposed to be a big wedding, small wedding. He will have the big wedding next year. So I am planning 4 weddings this year.
Oh my goodness.
With 4 different dresses. My girls are here today helping me figure out what I'm going to wear to the next one. And the whole thing has been crazy with COVID and everything, and very, very hard for everybody in a lot of ways. Small kids, I can't imagine that. I think that's one of the worst things. Yeah. Older parents we're dealing with, it's all of it. All of it. It's just not good. Not good.
We want to move on to somebody else that
I'll go. Yep. I am in New Jersey. I started with AT&T the day after graduation. I've been there 33 years. Married with 2 kids, a 16-year-old son who plays football and lacrosse, and a 14-year-old daughter who plays field hockey and lacrosse. And we are in the middle of moving. We are in a temporary sexy 70s rental right now with a closing scheduled for Friday to move into our new house. We moved from horse country with terrible field hockey, and we're moving to North Jersey. She's in a club team there that's ranked number 3 in New Jersey, and to be at that high school with that coach that she's been playing with for the past few years, so that she can play some quality high school field hockey. So
guess what position she's playing? Just wild guess.
Let's see.
With newer pads.
Database, I kind of knew that. Yeah.
The newer pads for sure.
Michelle or Cindy?
Sure, I'll go. So I live in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. We just downsized, Cindy, so I can commiserate with the move, but it feels good to be in a smaller house. So I've been married for 31 years. It's a long time. We have 2 boys. One graduated from Fordham, and now he's out in Portland, Oregon. And then I have one who's going to be a senior at Washington College. All soccer, so I didn't have any field hockey girls. I coached field hockey for a long time, for about 15 years for my local high school. Both of the boys were really great field hockey players. Tried to get them out doing more. but they would play every day with my team, which was great. They were the little boys and mascots, and kids loved them. Professionally, I work in education and ed tech. I lead, I work for a small startup that is a SaaS college and career readiness platform, and I'm in charge of sales and run the whole country. And I've been in ed tech now for over 20 years. So that's a little bit about me.
Diane, what do you think?
Awesome. Well, I love all those people on the Zoom call, so that's awesome. Good to see him again. Yeah, so as you may have guessed, since I was plugging for the West, I live in Northern California. I live in Sacramento, capital, and I've been out here 22 years now, hard to believe, especially when I'm only 30. And after a few years living and working outside of New York City, first job was in North Jersey with Prudential, and I had about 10 years in South Florida working for a couple of different companies. I work for Intel Corporation. Again, if I can help you out with connections, big company. We're not hiring right now, but we will be again, I'm sure. Been there 20 years this month, and I'm a technical program manager, kind of work for a group that's sort of like an internal consulting group where we get farmed out to the different product development groups on a program or project by program basis to help them with all kinds of stuff. I'm not married, but I've been in a committed relationship for almost 15 years. I don't have any human children, but I have two very, very spoiled yellow labs that keep me very happy. And I love being active and enjoy the outdoors still, and run and bike and swim and do whatever, ski and whatever keeps me moving.
Diane's Facebook posts kill me because I'm so jealous all the time.
Oh, like your life doesn't do anything either, Cindy, right? Yeah, I'm just trying to keep up with Cindy.
Country, beautiful country.
Well, come visit. You're all welcome. We're close to Tahoe, Yosemite, wine country, just saying.
That's rad.
Right by UC Davis, if you know where that is. Small private school out here.
I'd love to hear more about some of the hockey stuff, if that's okay. What I was thinking, have you guys watched sort of like current video or seen the team play in the last few years? I know that Susan has for sure.
I haven't seen as much as I'd like.
I've seen a little bit.
Talk to me about what, like when you see it, any highlights or anything like that, what is the difference between that and what you guys did?
Everything.
Grass versus turf.
Grass to turf. Okay. That's a big
Shorts,
one. Shorts.
turf,
Yeah.
victories.
Remember going to like Penn State and playing on the turf and being like, what game are we playing? Like,
I told the students one time that I played before tech fabric was invented.
There you go. That's true.
Were the kilts really wool?
oh, they were wool.
Oh yeah, they were awful. They were.
Well, they got a little bit better, but yeah.
Well, mine wasn't wool, so you didn't wear kilt.
Well, you're younger than we are, Michelle.
Mine was a reversible, orange on one side, blue on the other. It was sweet. It was great.
We had plaid and we had dark blue.
Plaid. And we had plaid.
Plaid, yeah, and then we had white shirts that went with the plaid, and then we had orange and blue stripe that went with the dark blue.
Did anybody play with a cotton shirt with the collar?
That's what we had.
We had those nasty cotton shirts, yeah.
Yeah.
I wore a rugby shirt.
You had a rugby shirt on, so like a full sleeve rugby. So you had to wear that whether it was 100 degrees or whether it was 60.
Yes, sir.
So I'd like to hear from Susan and you, Jeremy. Like, how do you think the game has changed the most? And to Michelle's point, offsides. Hello.
Yeah.
Have you seen the self start?
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's a self start, so there's no more free hits.
Oh.
So as soon as you get fouled, if the ball's nearby, you can just take off running.
Oh.
It's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah.
One of the best rules ever.
Yeah, it speeds it up.
It really speeds it up. It makes the game go a million miles an hour.
Oh yeah, I guess Cindy would know too with her daughter playing.
Funny. My first experience at Bucknell was as an assistant coach at Cornell. And so we came over and I coached against Bucknell on the grass field. And I think it was where the current lacrosse practice field is, but the golf course had been built long since then. So was there still a cornfield there?
Yeah, cornfield. Yeah.
That's where we
would lose balls in the cornfields all the time.
Yeah,
that was our bathroom, Jeremy. We did not have a bathroom out there.
The cornfield was the bathroom.
Cornfield was the bathroom.
Really good stuff.
It was her bathroom. It wasn't my bathroom. She's older, much older.
Did the coach count the balls after practice? Like, did you have to, like, as a team, like, was that a big deal?
Not really.
No.
No.
Not as big. Okay, that's still kind of how we run.
We would just say it went in the monkey mod. We couldn't get it. The monkeys.
The monkey mod.
The monkeys are still there, right?
The monkeys are still there. They're on the
Yeah,
other
In the
side.
monkey
of
mod.
We call it the monkey mod, that by the monkeys. Yeah.
And so the mods have been there.
Yeah, they were
as
there.
well, right?
Yep, they were there.
Yeah.
So-
You know, my brother went to Bucknell and graduated in 76, and they were put up as temporary housing then.
Yep.
Well, why were they actually put up? What's the actual story?
Temporary housing.
Just
Sue might know
random
more,
temp-
but I think they just had a maybe higher than expected enrollment or something. I don't remember exactly, but
Yeah, I don't know if they didn't have the money to build a new dorm or what it was, but they decided to put those up as temporary housing, and they expected that they would only be there for a couple of years, and they are still there.
That's so crazy.
Yeah,
Students love it.
I
Yeah,
know.
we lived there for 2 years. I love those mods. Yeah.
yeah, I lived there 2 years as well.
Yeah.
Have you lived there, Aaron?
A bunch of the juniors this year are going to be there, but I am going to be living in the gateways.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice. They were new when we were there, right, Cindy?
I don't remember what they are.
And they've been
The
redone
gateways were
since.
the ones that were like downhill from Roberts,
Exactly.
right? They were kind of near, what's that road over there where the president, no, I don't know. It's
Across from the president's
been a
house.
long time. Yeah, near the president's house.
The university has gone crazy putting up virtual tours now just because of the it's harder for students to visit us. You should check those out because they're absolutely brilliant. Like they do some like what are the things called, the little helicopters?
The drones.
The drones. They have the drone footage of like the new buildings. There's a ton of new buildings back there. But so did you guys play with the roll-in?
Yep.
So tell Aaron, Aaron has no idea what that is.
Oh, God.
Who wants to
So-
describe that to
So
Aaron?
Aaron, we used to, I think it changed like maybe after 1 or 2 years that I was there, but you had to like, if the ball went out of bounds on the sideline, was it on the end line too? I don't know if it was the end line as well. I think it was just the sideline, but you had to kneel down on one knee and you had to have 1 foot up on the grass and 1 knee on the ground. And then you rolled the ball onto the field.
With your hand.
Tell us more, Grandma.
It was like bowling almost, but you were kneeling.
Could you fake it? Like go,
No, you couldn't fake.
I think they phased that out somewhere between Sue's year and Cindy and my year.
Yeah. I was
don't
gonna say,
remember
I think
that
it was
much.
like 1 or 2 years, and then they gave you the hit off the sideline. But yeah, there was a roll in.
Did the
But,
rules?
and we would do the ground sticks to start. There was like you didn't get the ball to start. You had to go to start.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
played center, and I had to do that every time.
She always won.
Center.
She was good.
Awesome.
She always won.
You're all decades in right here. What so were there as many rule changes? Because it's like the time that I've been at Bucknell, it seems like every other year they pull out a rule change that dramatically changes everything.
Less obstructions now, for sure.
Yeah, less obstructions. Yeah, but yeah.
So talk to us about that. You had to keep the ball between you and a defender?
It was just the way that you turned. If you had your body between a block, it was more for your blocking they would call obstruction. But as long as your feet were continually moving, they wouldn't call you. It was less obstructions, as I think during
And
my
the offsides. I mean, the way we
Offside,
played,
that was huge. Yeah.
the whole team stayed up on the center line and just let me take everybody out, whoever came down with the ball.
That's how you got so many saves.
That's how I got so many saves.
Yeah.
Just go slide tackle them, but now you can't do that.
Yeah, and we used to have the long corner. I don't think you have long corners anymore.
Sorta. We take them up at the 25.
Yeah, there was the long corners, but in the short corners, we had all those special plays for those that were hard to execute on grass. Were always tricky. Ball out, you never knew what you were going to get.
Grass was tough.
You had long corners plays and short corner plays.
And plays, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And what kind of tech did you, Cindy? What kind of tech did you have on, like protective gear, relative to what your daughter wears?
So I had the cane pads with the leather, right? Some custom plastic footing over my shoe that Roberta made, the trainer, to help get added protection to my foot. Just a chest protector, my rugby shirt, garden gloves, pretty much. And
You had nothing from like here down.
Yeah, and then a flat hockey mask like Jason,
Like the form-fitting ones. You wore a form-fitting mask.
So yeah, you guys will love this story. I didn't realize this, but Sue Gray was our goalie, who actually never was a goalie before, and we didn't have a goalie, so she stepped up. And I have a picture of her in the cane pads. She had no chest protector. She had no helmet, nothing to cover her face. And my dad was a dentist, and I kept saying, this is crazy. Like, first of all, you know, how about a mouth, like, I think she wore a mouth guard, but so I got her one of those Jason masks, and I painted it with orange and blue nail polish.
That's right. That's right.
And that's what she ended up wearing. And I think going forward, a lot of people like started wearing that because there weren't helmets for goalies. There wasn't even anything.
Yeah, and speaking of contribution, I'm forever indebted to the Lenker family, because Sue's father, as she mentioned, has retired as a dentist and made us all custom fit mouth guards. That was sweet. That was really sweet. Instead of the ones you just dip in hot water, you know. And I mean, probably everybody does that now. They're dentists, right? But not then.
No, no. We
I still have teeth because of it.
Yeah. A lot of teeth.
That's awesome. So what are your favorite moments of Martha? What are your favorite coach sayings, or was she a yeller, or was she sort of like an encouraging coach?
She was, the best thing about Martha is game day, she let us play, and she would hold her comments. She was a very quiet, reserved person, and she'd hold her comments for halftime. And I really appreciated that, because I came from a high school coach who was a screamer. So I really like Martha's style. We used to do, sometimes we'd fall asleep, but she used to make us all lay down in the hotel room, and we do creative visualizations and visualize and see our play and how we were gonna, you know, do various things and win and focus and teamwork. So I really liked Martha's coaching style. It was top flight.
I know Cindy really liked that she made us run a lot.
Oh, in my pads, yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. But you know what? She did spend a lot of time with me, forming me between all the different types of workouts, the pool, the jugs, the field. So that was great. But I was also hypoglycemic at the time. And so anytime we got in those sexy vans to go drive in, Martha would have like a bag of like cheese. Raw eggs. I love raw eggs. And so, you know, she would watch out for me to make sure my blood sugar didn't tank, which was really sweet.
Awesome.
I think she cared about connecting, you know, and she tried to be holistic and tried to prepare us in the off season, but not anywhere near what y'all are probably doing now, which is even more optimal, I'm sure. You know, there's so much more known about what works well and what doesn't.
Well, and most of us also played 2 sports or 3.
True, very true.
So
did you guys all play 2 sports? 3 sports?
I played 2.
You softball, field hockey over here.
I played 2. I played 3, but
I was a softball player, but so many of the girls on the field hockey team played lacrosse. So I said, I've never played, but I'll go try that. Sure, it sounds like fun.
And I was so impressionable. I followed Cindy my freshman year and learned lacrosse from a couple of people on the Zoom call here, and made the team. Didn't play much, and then realized that how much softball I had missed. And the other 3 years I went back and played softball. So I did both in the spring.
Was Terry Grebe the coach?
Yep.
That's awesome. She's still my favorite.
Yeah.
She slapped me in my office one time. She was telling a story about your generation and how she went out onto the field to coach someone and had to wake her up a little bit. And through this story, she gave me a whack. It was awesome. It was like I was laughing for days. Just awesome. Hey, Erin, do you want to ask that question, your last question?
Yeah. So who is the teammate you admired the most throughout your career, and why?
I'll go first. It's actually Barbosa there, who's because she was the director of the field. I was the forward, and so Cindy always would just communicate well to all of us, you know, give us instructions where to go. And Cindy was someone who just had that leadership spark and would motivate us, keep us all together. So anyway, Barbosa there.
Oh, thanks, Michelle.
You're welcome.
I can't even name one, because I mean, look at the magnitude of people that are on this call with me. I mean, we had such a great team, both on the field and off the field, and the accomplishments of everyone here are just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I don't have a person in particular either. I just You know, it was just, everybody was great. It was a great experience all over, you know, and it's so nice to reconnect with people back, you know, from back in the day, hear all these funny stories.
You go back and look in the record books, and all of our names are in there.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I did. You don't have to remind me.
It's just funny. It's been a long time, you know.
It's my job to try to knock you guys all out of there.
Yeah.
Don't work too hard at it.
Well, it was really sad when Emily was playing. Some of her teammates knocked me out of my spot. I think I'm still on there, but I'm a little lower.
You're definitely on there. You're definitely on there.
That's awesome. Well, like Cindy, there's no way to choose, but the three people that you picked would probably be the top three I would pick. I mean, I played the most with Cindy since we were the same year, of course, and one of the things that I really admired about Cindy, and I don't know if I've ever told her, aside from what Michelle alluded to, is just her natural leadership ability, which is still evident even in her career pursuits, if she would indulge you, but is how it seemed, at least, easy academics came to Cindy, despite a very rigorous electrical engineering program. You know, all of us are playing sports, and we all know that different degrees can sometimes be a little more taxing than others. And Cindy just handled it with grace. And, you know, she loved, and I would say still loves, to work hard and play hard, and was always working to better herself, and has a fearlessness and an emotional intelligence that you know, few parallel. And also she let me beat up on her a lot. And I have to grovel for years and years. I think I hurt her a little bit, and she's still smiling, so that's good. And you know, I think, Sue, we just crossed, was it 1 year or 2 years? 1 year. 1 year, yeah. But a very impressionable experience, a very strong leader, and like a crazed hornet to all opposing goalkeepers and defenses, be it field hockey or lacrosse. She was just as awesome in lacrosse. So, you know, so really an outstanding athlete in two sports for a reason. And Michelle, oh my gosh, just fantastic stick work, determined, fearless, fun, just so much fun. We had a lot of good times together. So yeah, everybody, you picked wisely.
Good job, Todd. So I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on sort of the current state of the program, or what you know about it, and any advice that you want to give Aaron and I on sort of where we take the program from here.
I think you have a great reputation, Jeremy and Aaron. Everybody around me wants to go to Bucknell. So
awesome.
All the kids, you know, are interested in the school and in the program. So what you're doing is spot on. So kudos to both of you and all your players on your team.
Oh, thanks. Don't be shy to reach out.
I won't.
Yeah, I hope we get to see some games, either, well, probably not in the fall, but maybe in the spring. Are they saying what they're going to do, or?
Not yet. We're still a lot of up in the air stuff. I think this fall, if everything goes okay, what we're hoping to do is maybe play some scrimmages that get broadcast.
Yeah.
Like put up a live stream for some of those. And so we'll certainly be in touch with that. But I mean, Lafayette just made the decision, sounds like today, to go fully remote. And so
right.
that may end up changing things for the spring. I don't know.
And Bucknell has decided not to be remote so far, right? Is that
yes?
Yeah, that's the decision.
Right. We're still planning on everybody coming back, and you know, they're working really hard this summer, and we're going to try to start practice and sort of some pickup stuff pretty early in the semester, just to get back together and provide the support group. I think that the social side of it is tough on them.
Yeah, Jeremy, from everything I see or hear, and I'm a little more distant being on the West Coast, but you know, I try to read whatever comes my way that has Bucknell on it, you know, because I'm always a fan. But you know, it certainly appears like the program's in really good hands, and I'm really appreciative of your longevity. You've been there for how long now?
This was going to be lucky 13.
Yeah, and that's awesome. You know, I'm grateful that there's continuity there, because there's other times there's been turnover, and as we joked about, the facilities certainly have been upgraded, and you know, from when we played in the cornfields, and I really appreciate that. It seems as though you're taking a very holistic approach to developing the team as both, you know, athletes and young women because as we said before, it's not all about the hockey 4 years later. It is while you're there, but you're really affecting people's lives in a wonderful way. That the discipline and the collaboration and the problem solving and the leadership and all those other skills that obviously going to serve these ladies well in their future. I don't even have kids, but that's what I feel.
You have puppies.
Right, echo that, Diane. It's well said. Very well said.
So come west, play more games out west. That's all I can say.
We'll try. I mean, it's interesting. It was interesting hearing you guys' recruiting stories. I talked with the current team quite a bit, actually, on how lucky we are to have each of them in the program.
Nice.
Where it's, I'm watching them play as sophomores and juniors in high school and then making a decision, on whether we kind of offer them a spot or not, which, you just don't know how people are going to develop. And then the product or the person that you get when they show up isn't necessarily what I thought was going to happen, or the person that I thought I was recruiting. But it's just been such a wonderful thing. I think Bucknell attracts really cool people, and so, I mean, you guys got here sort of on a hope and a prayer, hoping to make the team, most of you. So it's like, in that sense, they were lucky to have you guys. In the same sense, I'm lucky to have our current students.
Well, and Jeremy, one of the things that you do when you do recruit these kids, which you guys might not all know, is the current student athletes are involved in that process. So when someone does come up for the weekend, they, stay with somebody for the entire weekend. They're with the team the whole time. So the kids have a say in, hey, this person is a great fit, or I don't know if this is such a good fit.
Some good pre-screening. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which is really nice, because so much of it is how the team fits together. And Jeremy, I think you do a really good job with that for the most part. Those classes are really good together and work well together, and the whole team works well together. And that's not an easy thing to do when you're dealing with 20 or whatever girls.
Thanks. I mean, we rely on the group far more than my opinion in terms of character and personality. I mean, I'm closer to the parents' age now than I am to the students' age, and so I try to get a good feel for the parents and see where they are,
Which also means a lot.
Yeah, right.
Good luck with that.
Guys, I get a sense of how competitive Susan is, and so I'm like, Emily's going to be there with her.
Susan's not competitive. What do you mean?
Are you kidding?
It's awesome.
Nobody on this call is not competitive. That's a bad sentence, but
Exactly.
You guys will love this story. When Emily got recruited by Jer, I couldn't be up there because my dad was sick at the time. So Brian, my husband, took her, and my husband also went to Bucknell. So anyway, of course, he's out gallivanting with all of his friends down at the Townie Tea the night before, and Emily is sitting in the coffee shop with Jer at 8:00 in the morning, and my husband is not there. So she calls him and she's like, Dad, where are you? And he's like, oh my God. So he jumps out, brushes his teeth, runs down there, and gets there like a half an hour late. And of course, Jeremy's offering Emily the position on the team and all this stuff. And she was mortified. When I found out, was absolutely mortified because I couldn't be there during that awesome moment. And here my husband is a half an hour late because he was out drinking all night.
Meanwhile, when I told the team that Emily had committed, they knew more about Susan because Susan was our celebrity guest judge at a Halloween contest that we had.
I forgot about that.
And so some of the people on the team who had lost in the Halloween contest, despite thinking I had the best costumes, weren't as happy that Susan was joining our.
Yes, they were not happy with me. I forget who I picked. I picked the freshmen because I felt sorry for the freshmen, and the seniors really should have won.
One girl made herself a duct tape dress. I remember. That's the only thing I remember. I was like, "That's crazy."
There were some good costumes at that party. Yeah, Jeremy's wife was on roller skates, rolling around their house serving food. That was funny. I forgot about that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, how much more time do we have here, Todd?
You got about 2 minutes.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, I just want to thank you guys for joining us. It's really cool to hear some of this stuff. The van stuff and the logistics of what you guys did when you were here is absolutely fascinating to me. because it's so different now.
I'm still in shock that you had to roll the ball in with your hand.
Well, Sue did, not all of us, just Sue.
Not all of us, Aaron, not I.
Grandma over here.
Thank you for organizing this. It was fun.
It was fun.
So fun, Todd.
It was fun. It's great to see everyone again. And Michelle, to know you're still out there. That's awesome.
It's nice to connect with you, Diane.
Yeah,
when they get back on the field, we all have to come to a game around here. And Diane, you'll have to fly in. You can just stay with us.
Okay.
You keep trying to get me to go out for the alumni games, but it's always like, when my kids have sports and I can't get out there, but.
I know, it's really hard.
Yeah, I'm at that point where I'm waiting just about 2 more years, and I'll have my college friends back again because all their kids are out of the nest. Cindy's got a little bit longer, but yeah.
I just want to wrap it up and start by talking to Aaron a little bit. And Aaron, thank you for taking the time to join us tonight. I think it's great that we can get somebody from the current team on, and you can hear these great stories and then take them back to your teammates and help relay what really Bucknell hockey was all about in the 80s and where it's come from and where it is now. And I know, I'm sorry about the fall and nothing anybody can bring back that season for you, but we're going to keep our fingers crossed that you get to at least come and work out this fall and maybe have some kind of a season in the spring. And, we'll all be there cheering you guys on if that's the case. So Aaron, thanks a lot for joining us. And then ladies, thanks for making the scheduling work. As I mentioned previously, this is my favorite decade because I'm one of you, and Susan, who was already gone by the time I was a freshman, because you called her grandma.
I'm just messing with her.
I got to see the other 3 of you play, and whether it was on the hockey field or the softball field, and there's some great memories there, and they come back to light during a session like this. So thanks again for joining us, and to those of you that tuned in at home, thanks for watching, and go Bison.